Welcome to our very first episode, the introduction to the hottest podcast that is going to hit the world, small screen cinema, where we are going to focus on TV movies from like the late 60s through the 80s that were on like NBC, ABC, CBS, movie of the week type stuff. And my name is Vincent, and this is my daughter Tabitha. Tabby, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, that was my husband yelling at my son, if you heard that.
Did
So,
not hear it.
okay, well, just pretend you heard it. So, yeah, my name is Tabitha. I've been Vince's daughter, I think my whole life. Yeah,
Most of it, yeah,
I
yeah.
I, I think so. It's been a long time. So that's been going pretty well. Um, I got a lot of my media tastes from you. So I have you to thank for a lot of who I am today. So, and it's led me to my career in technical theater, audio visual, convention stuff. So, and that's been really, really great. So, yeah, I never realized just how much I owe you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I got into old TV movies a few years ago. It was during the pandemic. I got a Blu-ray of Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, the original. And I listened to the commentary on it, and that was done by a film critic and a historian named Amanda Reyes, and she has a TV movie podcast. So I listened to that, and she has a fantastic book, which is a great resource. It's just called "Don't Go in the House Alone," or "He Knows You're in the House Alone." It's named after that TV movie with Dennis Quaid. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. It's one of those two, but anyway. So I highly, highly recommend checking out her podcast.
Very good. And my name is Vincent, and I've been Tabitha's father for more than half of my life, which is good. When Tabitha was little, she just loved watching movies. And I remember the first movie that we bought for you was The Little Mermaid. And uh, we we bought it for you for Christmas, but like after we bought it, we brought it home. We put you to bed. This was like a couple weeks before Christmas. We watched it ourselves. So that's that you were kind of born into loving movies. I've always loved movies. Growing up, I would go to the movies usually about once a week. It cost 75 cents to get in. So I saw a ton of movies growing up. And another thing I did watch is a ton of TV movies. And some of them are great and some of them are terrible. And we're going to cover a little bit of everything in this, from the great to the terrible. But I think we are starting off with a fantastic, maybe the best TV movie ever made, Duel. Tabitha, what's the background on Duel?
Okay, so because Duel is so famous, there's a lot to cover. So feel free to cut anytime you want. So Duel was written by Richard Matheson. He's a very, very famous genre writer. Among other novels, he wrote I Am Legend, The Incredible Shrinking Man, Stir of Echoes, Hell House, and What Dreams May Come. All of those have been adapted into films, some more than once. He was a screenwriter too. He wrote screenplays for some of the Roger Corman Poe movies, and he adapted some of his own books too. Like, again, he wrote the screenplay for The Incredible Shrinking Man and The Last Man, which was the first adaptation of I Am Legend with Vincent Price. A ton of television credits too. He wrote for Thriller, Combat, Lawman, Wanted Dead or Alive. He did several episodes of The Twilight Zone, really classic episodes like The Invaders, Little Lost Girl, Steel, and Nightmare at 20,000 Feet.
Oh, oh, oh.
And speaking of Shatner, he also wrote a Star Trek. He wrote The Enemy Within. Dad, you don't know anything about Star Trek, but that's the one where there's two Kirks, one good and one evil. It was great, trust me.
Could either of them act?
Well, no, it's you know what? Sometimes he can. Sometimes. I think he needs the right director.
Okay.
He also created this one season anthology horror series called Ghost Story, aka Circle of Fear. If you can track that down, I do recommend it because I it was really good. I was bummed out it only lasted one season.
What year was that?
Oh man, I'm gonna say early 70s. Sebastian Cabot was the host at the beginning of every episode. Um, yeah, it had some good guest stars too. Like Janet Leigh was in an episode. It's really good. Other TV movies he wrote were The Night Stalker and The Night Strangler. And he wrote Trilogy of Terror with Karen Black.
All three?
Well, the first two, they're all three based on his short stories. So the first two were adapted by different people, but he adapted the last one with the Zumi doll.
Okay. Okay.
The movie was directed by Steven Spielberg, who went on to do nothing ever, and no one ever heard of him since. He started in television. He directed Marcus Welby, Columbo, the pilot for Night Gallery, and he did a couple other TV movies. One was called Something Evil, and one was called Savage. And that was, all of course before he hit the big time with Jaws. Because what is Duel if not Jaws with a truck?
That's all it is.
It is. He came to the project when his assistant read the short story, which was published in Playboy, and brought it to him. And at that time, Matheson was already writing it as a teleplay, and Spielberg wanted to direct it. So he got a hold of the producer, George Eckstein, and he made his pitch. Eckstein asked for a sample of his work, so Spielberg sent him the rough cut of the Columbo he had just finished, which is, I don't know, I just think that's pretty cool that Columbo was like responsible for his big break. Duel stars Dennis Weaver and a truck, and that's about it.
Okay. Before we get to the cast,
Mm-hmm.
how old is Spielberg when he makes this movie?
Young, 20, 21, 22, very young.
Oh, so he accomplished more by the age of 21 than I have by the age of 59. Just putting things into perspective.
Yes, yeah, that's an accurate and true statement. Yeah. So this is mostly a one-hander. It's Dennis Weaver, who I frequently confuse with Dennis Hopper. I don't know why. Let me see. Oh, yeah. He's probably best remembered for Gunsmoke and McCloud and this movie.
Yes.
I mean, can you think of anything else?
Not off the top of my head.
There you
But
go.
when I was growing up, I didn't watch Gunsmoke, but McCloud was on when I was a kid, so that's what I mostly knew him for.
Okay. When his name came up in casting, Spielberg was very excited and wanted to cast him because he had a small-ish role as a motel caretaker in the movie Touch of Evil, which I didn't realize that was him. Oh yeah, and apparently he was the dad on Gentle Ben. I have never watched Gentle Ben, but it's Lassie with the bear. Yes.
Yeah, it's not good watching. It's unbearable.
Oh, you. Oh my gosh. I don't need to go through all this. Yeah, Weaver did a lot of other telefilms. This is obviously the most famous one, but he did a couple that I've seen. One was called Terror on the Beach. That one was kind of fun. And one was called Don't Go to Sleep, which was much darker than I was anticipating. I'm surprised that aired on television. His last role was as a main character on the series Wildfire, which was a show about a girl and her horse. The movie aired on ABC November 13th, 1971. On CBS, it ran against Funny Face, The New Dick Van Dyke Show, and The Mary Tyler Moore Show. On NBC, it ran against The Good Life, and then apparently nothing else was on NBC that night. Weird. So it's kind of no wonder this one's kind of well remembered. Aside from Mary Tyler Moore, do you know what these shows are?
Just the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
That's what I thought. I've The Good Life and Funny Face were both one season shows. I've never heard of the new Dick Van Dyke Show, but apparently it ran 3 seasons and was created by Carl Reiner.
Oh, I do
So,
remember that.
oh, you do?
That was on when I was a kid. It wasn't very good. It wasn't didn't have the magic feel.
Okay, fair enough. Uh, yeah, I already read that. Okay, the stunt. I want to shout out the stunt driver because the guy who drove the truck in this movie was named Kerry Lofton, and he did stunts for decades. I mean, he was just a stunt man, but then he became pretty much a stunt driver too. He did it for movies like Breakdown, Days of Thunder, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and The Naked Gun. Oh, and you'll love this Stingray.
Ah, for those of you who don't know what Stingray was, I grew up in Wood River, Illinois, and it was a movie that they filmed in Wood River with Chris Mitchum, Robert Mitchum's son. And about 15 years ago, I talked Tabby into doing a review of Stingray. You can find it somewhere online. So just look up Tabitha, the movie Stingray, and see if you can find it. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. Duel did win one Emmy for sound editing and was nominated for cinematography. It was also nominated for Best Television Movie at the Golden Globes. And the cinematography, I think it should have won because everyone wanted to shoot it on a soundstage, but Spielberg insisted they actually go out to the desert on location. So I think he deserves credit for that.
Nice.
That's about all the background I have.
Well, I do remember you did say something that, one of the other Dennis Weaver movies that you saw um, was very dark. I remember growing up, television movies ran the gamut. They could be very dark, they could be horrific. There was one that had Linda Blair called Born Innocent that had the most graphic rape scene, and they showed it right there on TV. It's almost like they could get away with almost anything in that time period from the late 60s through the early mid 80s on TV, as long as they suppress the cussing and the blood. Other than that, the themes would be very heavy, and we'll explore those movies in this and try to, for younger viewers, younger people who watch this, go check these out. We'll let you know where they're at, where you can find them. Just some fantastic movies. We're also going to look at some bad ones. Some of them are so bad you have to watch them. Well, let's jump into Duel. David Mann is the Dennis Weaver character, and he is a salesman, and he's not a very successful salesman, and I'll tell you why. Because he's wearing a cheap suit. He is driving a Plymouth Valiant, which is not, you think of successful salespeople in nice muscle cars or whatever, a BMW. He's just driving a run-of-the-mill Valiant. So um, the movie starts with him driving through town, which I assume is LA. And I think it's very interesting that you're looking at the point of view from the car, like his vantage point, driving, and then you have the radio doing traffic reports, and it starts showing that he's in a jungle. And there are problems throughout this jungle because you hear the traffic report saying there's an accident here, there's an accident here, there's a slowdown here. So he's going on this work trip. Basically, you kind of get the picture. He's just can't wait to escape the jungle and to get out on the open road. And then when he gets out on the open road, the radio is now doing like sports scores and stuff like that. So Spielberg does a really good job of showing how at the beginning this guy is in a grind and just wanting out. He gets out and he uses the radio to suddenly start doing something lighthearted like scores to show phew, he's out of the city. What did you think about his choice of shots, because you're more into shooting than I am, of going from the point of view of the driver through the city?
I loved the opening POV shot from the car, just backing out of the driveway down the road. I thought that was really cool and interesting because when we get to the truck driver, you never see him. You never see his face. It's just like the truck is the character in and of itself. So I thought it was interesting to do it like that. And I it's interesting what you say about the radio and stuff because yeah, there is that the difference between all the traffic and the sports, but also he's hearing some talk radio or some call-in show where a guy calls in asking about the census and is basically insecure or unhappy that he doesn't feel like the head of his household. He feels like his wife is. And I feel like that kind of relates to David Mann because he definitely seems like a very not assertive person, a very passive guy.
Very passive. And we come across the first shot of this old beat up fuel tanker that's ahead of him. And Spielberg does what I kind of call the Star Wars open, where you go through the whole, start at the back of the ship and go through the whole
Oh.
thing. And it was done much better in Spaceballs, by the way. But anyway, he has that shot. You're going from the back to the front of the truck, and it's just a cold, old, rusty, beat up hunk of metal. It has no soul to it. It has no life to it. And even if this is not a movie about this tiff with the truck, when I watch it, I would think, wow, that is some creepy looking truck. And
Right?
that's what he's thinking when the truck kind of starts playing with him.
Yeah, the truck, it does have all these different license plates stuck to the front of it. And I read this somewhere. I don't know if it was Spielberg's notion or if it was Matheson's, but their thought, this isn't in the movie exactly, is that those are plates from other cars that he has dispatched of
Ah,
throughout the road. So I thought that was a nice touch.
I see. So this wasn't his first carnival.
Right.
So David passes the trucker nonchalantly, and then because the truck's going slow, and then it speeds up and passes him, and then slows down. Which is, see, I think we should all live in Legoland, so that when someone passes you and slows down, you can shoot them, not kill them, but they fall into a bunch of Legos and they have to put themselves together, and you can just keep driving. So I'm sure that he wished, my gosh, you just passed me up, now you're slowing down. So they both stop at this small filling station. It's not even a convenience store. And from his vantage point where he's filling up his car, he can see the truck across the pump from him, but he can't see the driver. The only thing he can see is cowboy boots. And so the guy is filling up his truck and washing his windows and everything. But David's whole mind is, what's the deal with this truck coming up here, stopping for gas? I don't know if back in those days, a big truck, it would be normal for them to go to a small one island gas station, or if there were a plethora of truck stops already. I don't know. I don't remember. I was five. So,
I was gonna ask you because you and I've grown out of this, but you haven't. You and I have both been criticized for our slow driving. So I wanted to ask if I understand passing him once, even though it was not a passing lane. I was looking at the road. But passing him twice, would you have done that?
no,
Me neither.
no, no. I'm maybe because I watched this movie, I'm very cognizant that I don't want to spark somebody's road rage. And I don't know if
Yep.
he sparked road rage or if this guy was just nuts and he was picking someone out to harass. Um, but while he's at the gas station, he calls home to talk to his wife, and then we get a glimpse into what's going on with his personal life. Um, Apparently, they'd had a fight the night before, um, and we find out that he's kind of a wimp. His wife says that he should have defended her honor, basically, from an unwanted advance of another person at a party they were both at the night before. And I'm thinking, yeah, I think if somebody was hitting on my wife, even though I'm kind of passive, I might say something like, knock it off. But apparently he did nothing, and that really angered his wife.
Yeah, I don't blame her either. I would expect my husband to step in and defend me, you know? I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah. And we also find out that he's got a couple of kids.
Hmm.
So, and another glimpse into that he's not a tremendously successful salesperson is it appears they're in a small apartment. It doesn't appear that they're in this lavish house or anything. So
Sure.
I'm sure, having done some sales in my life, the pressure of getting that next sale when you're on commission is tremendous. When you add on to that, he's got this tiff he's had with his wife, and she's probably not happy with the income that he's bringing in. Um, there's a lot of tension from home that he's carrying on this trip. And I think he just called her basically to hear her voice. Because sometimes, when you get into a tiff with your significant other and, a few hours blow away, you just want to hear their voice, like, do you still hate me? You know? And she
Yeah.
basically says, yeah, I still hate you. Poor guy. And like I said, we don't see the driver, we just see his boots. There's a few times at the filling station when he blows his horn, and it's kind of ambiguous. Is he blowing it at the Dennis Weaver character, the David Mann, or is he blowing it to get the gas station attendant's uh, attention to fill his truck? And the movie kind of doesn't answer that. Now we can extrapolate that he was just doing it to tease David Mann here.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with anything, but question, could you, did the filling attendants back then have a special key or something? Were you physically unable to pump your own gas when they had attendants? Or like, what was the point of that?
Back in those days, you still had gas attendants, and if you went to a filling station, you did not get out of your car to fuel up. Nobody did. I mean, it wasn't even a thought.
Hmm.
Um, when I was a kid, I remember every station had gas attendants. We never got out of the car for anything. We never went inside for a soda. We just sat there, and the gas attendant would fuel the car, wash the windows, tap on the window. You want me to check that oil? Yes or no, whatever. And then when I was probably late 70s, early 80s, so it's like 10, 12, um, that's when they started doing like full service and self service. And that
Okay.
was a big deal because raised with a single mother who really, I don't ever remember her using self service when I was growing up, even though they had that option, because she didn't know how to fuel cars. Shoot. Kathy's mom, that's my wife, by the way, Kathy's mom, when uh, Bob passed away in 2015, she hadn't filled up a car since the 70s. So
Wow.
they actually Googled how to put gas in a car and use self service. So
Huh.
amazing.
Interesting.
So they get back on the road, and they kind of resume this cat and mouse game. Um, but now the truck will not let David pass. He just keeps swerving, and they're on a two-lane highway in the desert, in the mountainous deserts like they're plural, mountainous desert. And at one point, the trucker waves David to pass him, so he thinks, okay, this is over. I'm going to pass him, and they're coming around a curve, so David gets in the lane, and there's a car coming right for him. So the trucker basically waved him into oncoming traffic when he didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's when it was like his you can see him slowly like this isn't just a jerk, this is a weirdo. And at that point he realizes, oh, this is the guy who may be playing for keeps. So um, David finally does pass him on a dirt cutoff, so he gets past him. The truck catches up to him and starts tailgating him, and the truck honks periodically at David. And then we finally have the first physical contact. The truck starts bumping David. Um, And at this point, we didn't hear it for the rest of the movie, but at this point, we started hearing some ominous music, kind of like Jaws.
Oh, the score is great in this. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
when he was tailgating him, I was like, ah, my mom was driving this truck. It all makes sense now. My
oh
mom
yeah.
tailgated and she never learned her lesson.
Oh, we went on a trip out west, and it was with a church group. We had three vehicles, and your mom was driving one vehicle, and we'd be going down the highway, and anytime the lead vehicle would switch lanes, I mean, immediately they'd go, and your mom would just be right.
Yeah.
Oh, very scary. So David is going down the road. He's going fast, and he's got this truck on his tail, and he sees this diner with this parking area, and he going very fast. He turns into this parking lot where the truck cannot possibly physically make this turn at this time. He skids in, and the side of his car hits a fence, and he's a little loopy from that accident. He's not wearing his seatbelt, by the way. Did you notice that? He never put his seatbelt on in the whole movie.
Well, that was normal then, wasn't it?
1971, yes. Seatbelts, what are these for? So, so he gets slams into the fence. This guy witnessed the whole thing is weird, and you got whiplash there, He's like,
Yeah, and he keeps trying to touch him. It's like, dude.
yeah. I'm thinking, my gosh, this is weird. Um, so he has a little whiplash. He's a little woozy. He goes into Chuck's cafe, and he goes into the bathroom to gather himself, and he has this inner monologue on how things change right back to the jungle again. He's thinking this in his mind, and it's like, I've left the city, and now I'm in a different jungle. I'm right back to where I don't want to be driving. Yeah, it's not a casual drive anymore.
Yeah.
So he gets out of the bathroom and sees that the truck has parked somewhere in the diner parking lot. So while he's been in the bathroom, we should name this truck, like Rusty or something.
Rusty. Mater.
Mater's dad.
Mater's, there you go.
There you
Mater's
go.
dad. Well, see, I was thinking it actually hadn't occurred to me until he started looking around that the trucker went inside. I just assumed he was still sitting in the truck because I was like, once I saw that truck outside, I'd be like, well, I'm simply never leaving this diner. Like, I'm moving into that diner. I'm not getting back on the road until that truck is gone, you know? Like, have my mail forwarded there. Tell the kids I love them. This is my home now. I'm not leaving. You can't make me.
Yeah, I get that, but the people in the diner are very strange. They're He's having weird interactions with them, and I know part of it is that he's loopy, but he's
Yeah,
paranoid.
he's
He's
paranoid. Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking around, and when he does talk to them, we'll get into that in just a second. It's just a little weird. So he's sitting down, and he's scanning the diner trying to find the trucker, and he sees four men sitting at the counter of the diner, and two of them have cowboy boots on, and that's the only thing he knows about this guy is that he wears cowboy boots. Now, I'm not a smart man, but I do know that when you're out west in the desert, a lot of people wear cowboy boots, so maybe that wasn't the best thing he should use to try to pick him out. So he contemplates calling the police, but he doesn't because he don't think that the locals will back him up because his interactions with the locals have been a little strange. So one of the guys at the counter who's in the cowboy boots, he leaves, And so he focuses on the other guy at the counter, thinking that has to be the truck driver.
Hold on. The first guy who leaves, I'm pretty sure that was a cameo by Earl Holliman. I want to point that out. He was on Police Woman. He was in the first episode of The Twilight Zone.
Hmm.
Like it yeah, the one where he's the astronaut and he goes back to Earth and there's nobody around, he can't find anybody. So yeah, I wanted to shout that out because I thought that was cool.
Oh, I did not know that. Very cool. So uh, he focuses on the other guy at the counter who's wearing the cowboy boots, and he confronts this man and basically tells him, "Hey, stop harassing me and cut out the aggressive driving." And the guy is eating a sandwich. He's like looking like, "What are you talking about?" And David, it's like you can't get in your truck and force people off the road. And the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And David decides his best action is to slap that man's sandwich out of his hand. And just like everybody who has ever had a sandwich slapped out of your hand, your reaction has to be, I'm going to kick that guy's ass. So David gets his ass kicked by this guy in cowboy boots who's probably got 40, 50 pounds on him. And David, the guy leaves in a different vehicle. So neither of those two guys were the truck driver. And David is asked to leave the diner too. And he sees the man get his pickup. And then he notices that the truck is leaving. So he chases it. I don't know why he did this. As the truck's leaving, he chases it on
On
foot
foot, yeah.
until the truck outpaces him. And I'm thinking, first of all, it's at this point I start thinking, the hell with work. I'm turning around and going home.
Right?
I mean, I understand you need to get to work, but maybe going in the opposite direction of the truck. But like I've told you before, if they did that, the movie would have been a half an hour long.
True.
So
Well,
it does push the story, even though it's illogical.
well, a couple things about the diner scene. One, I guess I didn't pick up on it being that strange with everything. I just picked up on him being super paranoid about everyone because like he knocked into that fence. Is he gonna pay for that? No one's upset he knocked over that fence, you know?
Yeah,
And and another thing about him being so passive, when the waitress brings him his food and she goes, "You need anything else?" And she's kind of walking away and he's like, "Well, I," and she walks away and he goes, "I wanted some ketchup." He still couldn't stand up for himself there, even in such a little thing.
yeah, yeah, that is true. That went by me, but yeah, he kind of needed some catch up. Kind
I felt really bad for him.
of like a whipped dog. So he gets back on the road, and I guess his feeling is that the truck has left and is going on its merry way. And as he's traveling down the road, he sees a school bus that's at the side of a road, but it's kind of a spacious area. It's not like right on the side of the road. School bus with kids, school bus driver. And so David pulls over, and the bus driver says, I just need a push. I just need a push. And then this is how passive he is. I would say, I am not going to use my car to try to push your school bus because it's going to dent my car's bumper, number one. And number two, we could get our bumpers locked. But the school bus driver, who is not an imposing figure, just talks him into it. And
Okay,
so,
he talks right over him. Yeah.
yeah. And then, so all the kids get on the bus and they're all in the back kind of mocking him. And it's a very sad thing watching these kids. You see movies like that now where kids, yak on adults. You didn't see it back then, so it's kind of very sad.
I
So,
was gonna ask you that too. You're a kid on a bus in the 70s. Are you back there mocking that guy, making
oh
faces at him?
no, oh
No?
no, no.
Okay.
No, because it was drilled into me that everybody older than me is on dope, and he could have been on dope, which meant he could have killed me.
Oh my God, Grandma. No. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, my mother's passed away, so she's not going to see this, but yeah, she pretty much drilled into us the evils of dope, and she always called it dope. So
That's hilarious.
anyway, so like he predicted, his bumper went under the bus's bumper, and he couldn't move the bus, and then they got their bumpers locked, and at one point the kids are all on top of his car. He's having to tell the kids get off my car. I mean,
These
I'm
kids are
like,
such jerks.
yeah. So while they've got the two vehicles locked, the bus driver says the bus driver actually does get on his car to try to get it, and he tells, "Don't get on my car." Like I told the kids, don't get on the car. So he's getting a little perturbed here, and then he notices there is a tunnel, probably about 50 feet in front of them, going through the mountain, and there's the truck just parked there, just watching the whole affair. So at this point in time, the first time you watched it, did you think that he was going to like plow into the bus and kill the children?
I really did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I thought, oh, this is about to get real dark.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Now, does he kill the kids here? So anyway, he Dennis Weaver, or David Mann tells the bus driver that guy is trying. I can't explain it now. You kids need to get on the bus, and the bus driver, nah, there's plenty of room here. Kids are okay out the bus and all this stuff. So they finally dislodge their bumpers, and they do it because the bus driver does actually have to get on the hood and start bouncing and dislodges the bumpers. And David looks back and sees that the truck is. Uh, so David takes off towards the truck because the truck has to turn around. And when he looks back, he sees that the truck is actually behind the bus pushing it, like the bus driver asked him to push it, you know. So um, he doesn't have anything against other drivers. It's just David. He's just picked
Just
him
him.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So David feels like, okay, he's pushed the bus. I put some distance here. I'm fine. He's starting to breathe easier. He's at a train track, stopped by a train, and all of a sudden the truck is behind him and starts pushing him into the path of the train, and he's like braking, and the bus is trying to push him into the path of the train, and he realizes that the game is still on. So right when the truck clears, David uh, guns it, kind of goes up an embankment and stalls. And the truck driver just casually goes by and honks as if to say, adios.
Mhm. Yeah.
So David travels down the road a bit and he comes to the truck again, but this time it's driving very slowly. And David pulls into a filling station that apparently doubles as a venomous reptile slash arachnid sideshow farm thing.
Just one of those teeny tiny tourist traps, I guess.
Yes. And so David pulls into this filling station and wants to use the phone. And the truck stops down the road to watch David. And as David gets on the phone in the phone booth, the truck comes barreling for him in the phone booth, knocks the phone booth down, knocks over all these cages of rattlesnakes and all kinds of stuff. David at one point has a big tarantula on him. He's got to knock
Honest,
off.
yeah.
And I don't know if later Spielberg would have put that in. Um, was he trying to be funny a little bit, or kind of what's your take on that scene?
What it was trying to be funny. I think it was maybe a how I guess it could have been funny as in a like a how could this get any worse type of thing.
Yeah,
But
that's
honestly, yeah. But throughout that scene, I just felt so sorry for the lady who owned the station. She was so upset that her little zoo got wrecked, and I felt terrible for her.
I felt sorry for her too. In fact,
Hey,
I the only solace I have now is that she's probably dead. So she doesn't have to go through that hell, reliving it in her mind every day. But yeah, I just kind of found that was a weird little scene in the movie. This I understand having him go after him with the phone booth, but knocking down all the reptile things and snakes are everywhere, and then it just struck me
they
as
need
maybe a little out of place.
maybe they needed to add a touch more danger there, you know.
Yeah,
But I don't like spiders, so I could have done without that.
fair enough. So David gets into his car and he drives down the road trying to get away from the truck, and then he kind of hides in this little cove, kind of makes a little hairpin and hides in this cove and sees the truck go right by him. So at this point in time, do you turn around and go home, or do you think, well, even though it hasn't happened all day, this time I've lost him?
Well, his plan at this point is to just wait an hour and then keep going. Now, I turned around and went home a long time ago, but him, I don't know. He really doesn't want to see his wife and kids, so he's gonna plow ahead. So he ends up falling asleep next to this train track, just being like, okay, I'm gonna wait. When I wake up, he'll be gone. I'll keep going. Did you notice when he does wake up, you first hear the sound of the truck, and then right when he wakes up, it switches to the sound of the train rolling by. I thought
Yeah,
that was a cool bit. Yeah,
yeah, that was really cool. I did like that.
yeah,
And he wakes up by the train, and then he drives down the road for a while and sees that the truck is parked just waiting for him because, of course, the truck is just going to wait for him. He's playing a game with you, David. David, pull your head out of your butt. Come on. So
David's not the smartest tool in the shed.
that's right. That's right. So David gets out of his car to confront the trucker. He stops, truck's there, gets out to confront the trucker. And um, the trucker takes off and goes about 50 yards down the road and parks again. And so David's like, well, he doesn't want to confront me, obviously, but he's kind of teasing me. And then he goes back and parks in the original place. So David flags down a couple who is driving, an older couple, and asks them to call the police. And they're freaking out, like I think people in the 70s generally, you heard a lot about crazy people and stuff like that. It was kind of a thing where I'm not, people were less generous in helping those in need at that time. And this older couple was afraid. Here's this guy sweating. He looks terrible. He's got this beat up car and he's telling them to call the police and he's kind of rambling a bit and they're trying to get away. And then the truck turns around and the truck uh, runs the older couple off. So now
Yeah,
we kind of,
they're like, God bless, bye.
yeah, bye. Be
They don't
warm, be
care.
good. Yeah. Don't let that truck hit you, it hurts. Um, so then we hit the final stretch of the movie, the final cat and mouse frame. The truck parks and dares David to get back in his car to continue the cat and mouse game. And David, you could just see him like, okay, I know how it's going to be near him. It's going to be near him. And you just see him kind of get this empowerment at this time. I've got to see this through. And their chase goes through the desert on the highway. They take some back roads and then they get back on the desert highway. And David starts losing him going up a hill. And then all of a sudden, David realizes that his radiator hose has burst.
Mm.
And so he's going up a hill. And I just thought this was Right. This was so well shot by Steven Spielberg. As you saw the temperature go up on the gauge because the radiator hose is busted and it's going up to 250 degrees. The next, he'd intersperse that with shots of the odometer going down because the speed is dropping. And David is like panicking, like, oh my gosh, I busted a radiator hose. What am I going to do? And so the truck catches up to him, and then they start going down the hill. So David puts it neutral and gets going to about 60 miles an hour. And the truck does catch up to him. So David puts the car in neutral going downhill, and then he sees that sign that says trucks use low gear for the next 12 miles. And that's very important because if you've ever driven a truck down a mountain hill, which I have not, you got to gear down. You do have to gear down because I did drive a school bus once and they said whenever you're losing control, you gear down. So I did know that.
I have never driven a stick shift in my entire life, so
Ah, you're missing it. Why
am
didn't your
I?
dad teach you how to drive one?
Oh, my dad's so lame.
Yeah. so, um, so David ends up on a dead end area that is blocked by a gate. And then this is where the name of the movie kind of shows itself. David turns the car around and the truck is right here. And David goes for the truck goes for David. And at the last minute, David jumps out. The truck hits the car, flames burst, and his truck is pushing the car. Can't see because of the flames and everything. And he goes right off the cliff.
And
End of story.
it's a great shot. Spielberg said he had 7 cameras set up because they only had one truck. There was no take two for this. So he wanted all these cameras set up to catch all these angles. And he said he couldn't remember the camera operator's name, but he caught such a great shot and he just followed it all the way down into the plume of smoke. And then, excuse me, son.
My grandson.
Yeah. Into the plume of smoke, and then the back of the truck emerges again from the smoke as it continues to crash, and it really looks great. They captured it perfectly there.
Yeah, and what I liked about that crash scene is it was over. There was he would show shots of like oil dripping from the
Mm-hmm.
wreckage and tires spinning and everything. And usually you're just waiting, okay, there's going to be the big stupid explosion, and it never happened. And that's what I really like. It's just this hunk of dead metal laying down there in that gully, and it really is reminiscent of Jaws when he killed the shark, and it's just like this headless shark sinking to the bottom. It's so,
Yeah.
you know, it's not like Fatal Attraction where they drown her in the tub and 2 minutes later she's I'm alive and they shoot her, which that's one of my pet peeves about Fatal Attraction. So,
Well, I don't know if they had really started doing the last second gotcha scare in 1971. I'm not sure when that became really popular, but yeah, I don't like that either. Like, just end it where you're supposed to, you know?
so in the grand scope of Spielberg movies, do you rank this as one of his better ones, one of his best ones, a forgettable one?
Oh, I mean, that's hard to say. He's done so many classics. Like, if you ask people who don't know anything about movies to name a director, they'll probably name Spielberg, before anyone else, or maybe Hitchcock. But he's just a director that everyone knows. I mean, it's great, but, there's clearly a budget constraint, and he had 10 days to film it. He went over by 2 because he insisted on filming on location. And from then it was 3 weeks to air date. So, the TV movie schedule is super rushed. But I think as a TV movie, it does stand out for its production values and directing, if nothing else, you know?
Yes, and you brought up something interesting that he had this short window to shoot and to get it on the air. When I was growing up, you heard damn and hell on TV shows sometimes. You never heard any other curse words. And I did notice in this showing, and by the way, I watched it on Amazon Prime, and I think it's also on Apple Plus. So if you want to check it out, it's not free. You have to pay the rental fee for it. Or if you'd like to see it free, just go to Tabitha's house. She has it on Blu-ray, and she'll just pop it in for you. So, um,
Over.
come on over. The house is huge, so love it. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Um, at one point watching this, he used the word ass, which I'm sure in 1971 was not used on TV because I don't remember that being said on TV until the late 80s, early 90s. They was like, uh, oh, the New York PD Blue kind of started trying to push the boundaries.
NYPD Blue,
Yeah, whatever.
Hill
Um,
Street Blues, there were two of them. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, so I was wondering if if the if the TV version was a little edited down from the version that I saw.
It probably was. Was yours 90 minutes?
I think it was like think it was like an hour and 43 minutes.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, mine was my Blu-ray's about an hour 30 minutes. The version that aired on TV was an hour and 14 minutes. So it was definitely things were edited out. And I think things were even added in and they did this with a lot of American TV movies, they would release it as a feature overseas. So
Okay.
we might have been seeing that version.
Okay. All right, very good.
But
So,
that's funny just that you mentioned not being able to use the word ass because that was something that really bothered me on TV in like the 2000s is that you could say ass on network TV but not asshole. So there was the show House and it's about an asshole, but you can't say asshole on TV. So everyone called him an ass, just constant, constant, constant. I'm like, no one says it. No one says ass like this. Just call him an asshole. That's what you're. That's just something that always bothered me about that show. I'm like, you can't say what you want to say.
yeah, F an
Sorry,
a-hole.
that was a complete tangent. Yeah, it was like
Okay, we're going to wind this up and I'm going to ask Tabitha. Do you think that I saw the original airing of this in November of 1971 when I was 5 years old, or did I see a later repeat of this? Or is this the first time I've seen it?
I think you saw it later.
I saw the original airing of this.
No,
5 years old. Me and my sisters were watching it. I don't remember much about the details, but I do remember this guy's being chased by the truck. And I do remember at the end, he's sitting there looking down at the wreckage because his car is there and he's stuck in the desert and everything. And one of my sisters said, I think he's sad because he lost his car. And that was sufficient for me at 5. Yeah, he lost his car. Don't worry, he's
yeah,
sad.
that's a real
But the
bummer.
trauma, how you get over that crap. So,
Well, you said he's not doing well. You're gonna have to pay for a new car now. That's not great.
yeah, well, and he lost a day of work when he's on commission. So,
That too.
yeah, and his wife, she's going to leave him.
And he probably just died of exposure anyway. There's nobody coming down that road for a while.
That's right. That's right. So we're gonna end each one of these segments with a rating system. It's going to be either a classic or a trash it. So there's no in between. So Tabitha, would you give this a classic or a trash it?
Oh, this is for sure a classic.
I agree. This is for sure a classic. And we're kind of alternating. I picked this one out to watch first because I think this is the benchmark of made for TV movies. There were some
Hmm.
great ones after that, after this, and there were some that maybe I like a little better. We'll get into in the coming in the future. But this set a benchmark pretty high for what you could do with a TV movie. And I like the fact that he kind of recycled a lot of the storyline into Jaws. And I saw Jaws in the theater when I was, I don't know, 10 years old. Yeah, 7 to 16 years old. And I never put the two together because I didn't know Steven Spielberg directed Duel. But then
Yeah.
when I was an adult and I watched Duel again, I realized Steven Spielberg, I thought, golly, this is just Jaws on the road. Just Jaws on the
Yeah.
road with
I mean,
no,
it's not as thematically rich, but
yeah,
it's streamlined. Yeah.
yeah, very good. Well, that's our first episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell all of your friends that there is this and we're doing this not only as a YouTube channel, but also as a podcast, Small Screen Cinema with Tabitha and Dad. And we'll try to drop these on a weekly basis and keep you up with some great TV movies. Try to tell you where you can see them. And that way you can kind of find some of these hidden treasures. There's some very good stuff. What I really like about a lot of these made for TV movies, you can watch them in an hour and 15 minutes. Just it's done. And so you
Yeah.
had to get a lot of storytelling in a little time. And a lot of these movies do a great job with that.
I agree.
Okay. Well, Tabitha, I will see you next week, okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.